This week on London Real, we have the entrepreneur and mentor, Dan Pena.
I'm part Freud, part General Patton, and part Jack Welch. Self-esteem is the key to high performance. You know, we only make changes for two reasons, Brian: desperation or inspiration. You can do anything you want that you have passion for, because that eliminates most of the crap, because most people don't follow their dream. Before I had any money, I used to go to the Rolls-Royce dealers and sit in the cars and smell the leather. Practice success before you're successful.
My audience is either going to love you or hate you. I don't know.
What gets measured gets accomplished. Perfection equals paralysis. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Dress British and think Yiddish. If you want to send your kids to a better school, if you want to be able to take care of your mother when she gets dementia, if you want to, this all takes money, not Zen.
London Real presents Dan Pena, your first 100 million.
When I see mistakes, if we were at war, we'd all be dead.
I am here in the city of London, which is the square mile known as the financial center of the country, many would argue of Europe. And why am I here today? Well, it's this place that I first came to in London in 1997, many years ago, and it's the reason I'm still here, and I guess it's also the reason why London Real exists in the first place, because I came here back in the day to try to make as much money as possible, and that was a big goal of mine most of my life. Ever since I was a little kid, since I was a little munchkin on the school bus, I was selling candy out of my backpack and charging the highest gross margins as possible. And all I wanted to do since I was a little kid was make as much money as possible. And I'm not sure if that was something up in my brain or the American dream manifested in some way. And so that was always a huge goal of mine. And I took it to the extreme. As you can imagine, I do things like podcasts and talk shows and training and all that kind of thing. And so I got into finance when I got out of school. My degree was in mechanical engineering, but I took all of that knowledge of science and algorithms and went to work on Wall Street and started trading. And I was a little crazy back in the day. I used to watch the movie Wall Street constantly. I used to quote Gordon Gekko. I used to read American Psycho like it was a how-to manual and how to dress and how to act. I used to walk around with a copy of Iceberg Slim, the story of a pimp, and my buddies and I would quote lines back and forth about that. And so the reason I'm talking about this and the reason I'm here in the city today walking around some of the tallest and most expensive buildings in the world is because my guest today reminds me a lot about myself and about how I used to be and maybe in some ways, you know, how I still am. And it's something I still grapple with, you know, every day, especially with London Real and a lot of the topics we have, whether it's ayahuasca or consciousness or thinking about us as a collective society and not just as individuals. And so when I had Mr. Dan Pena, who is my guest today, who has a book called Your First 100 Million, part of me was very hesitant to have him on the show. And part of me thought, you know, he doesn't contribute to the vibe of London Real and to the idea that we're trying to look beyond the dollar bill, to look a little bit further into our fellow human being and look inside our own being and our own consciousness and try to find, you know, is it money that's going to make us happy? Is it buying that Porsche or buying that brand new MacBook Air that's going to satisfy us, or are there other ways that we really truly need to feel satisfied, like being part of a community or loving one another or loving ourselves, you know, for all of our failures or shortcomings. And so I didn't know how to take Dan, and when Dan rolled up into my studio, he's dressed in a three-piece suit with a gold chain. I mean, Jesus Christ, he lives in a castle in Scotland, and, you know, let's be honest, he's all about bucks. And the rest is conversation, as I quote Gordon Gekko one more time. And He talks about how he originally turned $820 into $450 million in the oil business. And for the past 20 years, he's been mentoring individuals. And one of them being Peter Sage, one of our most popular guests, and one that's, I would say, less of a blatant capitalist than Peter, but he's mentored high-level executives for the past 20 years, and he claims, and he might actually be right, to have gained $50 billion in market capital from the publicly traded companies and ventures that they've gone on to accomplish thanks to him. And he very well could be right. And I found that my hour and a half here with Dan at the end left me feeling very strange. I felt like I had actually been on a psychedelic adventure into the depths and horrors of capitalism and egoism. And I didn't know what quite to think. And I went home that night and I felt like, you know, I had just had some psilocybin or ayahuasca. I didn't know what to think, you know, and I think part of the reason it struck me so much is because what I see in Dan is a lot of what's I used to be and what I still am. And, you know, the more I think about it, maybe there's a way we can all coexist together. And so I wasn't quite sure, but I think I quite like Dan for what he is. And, you know, he gave me a piece of his mind about me, and he was like, you know, you think you're Zen, Brian, and, you know, sooner or later you're going to have to pay the bills. And I don't know what you're doing here with this podcast, but you're going to have to straighten up, fly right, and take care of business. And part of me thinks he's just a crazy old man who acts like a Bond villain up in Scotland. But, you know, part of me also thinks maybe he's right. And so I guess they say the truth always hurts. And so I had to gauge myself, gauging my reaction to Dan. And so that's made me think a lot. And it's funny to say that Dan probably made me think about myself just as much as a psychedelic has. So for that, Dan, I have to say thank you very much. Anything that broadens your perspectives, you have to give credit to. So Dan, I appreciate it. I will probably be staying in touch with you. Who knows, I might even come up into the Scottish Castle and visit you. And what I do offer to Dan in return for the wonderful knowledge he gave me is I want to throw out an offer to Dan if you're watching this, which I hope you are, since it's your episode. But I would like to mentor you in the fine arts of ayahuasca. Maybe I can come up there with Susie one of these weekends and we can drink together, and maybe we can harness all of this massive, crazy energy of yours and into maybe a few good projects for the greater good. I don't know, maybe it would be something for the earth, or maybe we could do a startup venture for, ayahuasca retreats in Peru. I don't know, but I'm just going to toss that out. So in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with Mr. Dan Pena. He is a guy that has so many fun catchphrases in here. You know, he's part Sigmund Freud, part General Patton, and part Alex Welsh, which is the former CEO of General Electric. And I think you're going to enjoy him. He's a guy that has a lot of knowledge, and in many ways is the opposite, I guess, of London Real, but in many ways maybe he isn't. So I'll leave you with that, and I hope you enjoy Dan. I just wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors who are always with us, which are the guys at Bulletproof Coffee. These are the guys that support the show and make a fantastic coffee that's free of molds and toxins. And you mix it up with some grass-fed butter or even some clarified ghee, and you put some MCT oil in. I just got a shipment from them. It's fantastic stuff. They now have 16-ounce bottles, so if you want to just check that out, you can. You can go to upgradedself.com to pick up all of their things, and the sleep induction mat, etc. If you want to learn more about sleep hacking, you can click on the video here and take a look at that. So there you go. That's my opinion of Mr. Dan Pena this week. I'm titling this episode "Your First 100 Million." He does have a book called that, and maybe this episode will lead you to make your first 100 million. And I will keep you posted if Mr. Pena wants to take me up on my ayahuasca mentoring. And if not, I'm sure we'll all just get along and become better people. So now I leave you with the one and only Mr. Dan Pena. Shall we do this?
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. We are sponsored today by the folks from Bulletproof Coffee, which, if you don't know, is a coffee that's free of molds and toxins. You mix it up with grass-fed butter and some MCT oil, which is like coconut oil, but it's got 18 times the amount of nutrients in there. You mix it up and you've got this wonderful brew to drink in the morning. It's almost a replacement for breakfast. And I've just served it to Dan, and you're pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker per se, but this stuff really tastes good. I think, as you mentioned before we went on air, it's the buttery. It's the buttery.
Yeah, but when you saw me take the butter out, I'm sure you were wondering.
Yeah, I thought, well, this guy, this ex-financial guy, what's he smoking now? I mean, he's putting butter in my coffee. Okay.
Well, I appreciate the trust you had.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
So I just want to thank those guys. They also are big into biohacking. So if you want to hack your sleep, I've just put a video out with 5 free tips and 2 free apps that you can track your sleep at night, that kind of thing. I track my sleep every night, by the way, with my smartphone. So it lets me know like my REM sleep and all that kind of thing.
Really?
So, yeah. I'll show you that
I'd be
afterwards.
be interested in that.
Yeah. So thanks to those guys for supporting the show. You can go to their website, upgradedself.com, and pick up their stuff. On with the show, my guest today is Mr. Dan Peña, who is an American-born businessman, entrepreneur, and mentor who lives in a castle in Scotland. Dan, you're like a James Bond villain in that way. And, you're dressed for success. I don't know many people that can pull off a 3-piece suit and a gold chain. That's fantastic. You are the author of the book, Your First 100 Million, which you just gave me a copy. Thank you very much. I guess that's $100 million.
Correct.
Okay. You've had some amazing successes in the past. I want to get to those later. I believe you turned $820 into $450 million in the oil business, I believe.
Correct.
We will get to that. But most importantly, our former guest, Peter Sage, who was here, we had him on the episode called Extreme Entrepreneur. It was watched over 30,000 times, I think listened to over 200,000 or 300,000 times around the world. I get emails to this day saying that Peter's talk with me really inspired him. I don't know, it was a serious moment where Peter was inspirational, but he really holds people accountable. That might have something to do with you. We'll talk about that going forward. But I've had people call me and say they stopped drinking after that episode, and like big life changes. So, and at the end of that show, he mentioned you and the book as being his mentor. So quite frankly, that's the reason you're here today. Thank you so much for being here, Dan. Welcome to London Real.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
No problem at all. I know you've just flown in from Asia. I'm glad the coffee's helping you a bit. You kind of remind me of kind of the George Patton of the business world. You wrote me one of your emails. You're like, I use harsh and candid language. For people that don't know, when Dan sends me an email, it's in all caps, which to kids these days on Twitter, it's people think you're yelling. But on top of all that, it's all caps and red letters, Dan, when you send me your emails.
Big red letters.
Big red letters. And the last email Dan sent me, he said, Brian, hope you are ripping the ass out of 2014. It doesn't get much better than that. Dan, what do you tell people that you do when they ask you? What do you say?
Well, the last 20 years, I've been a coach, mentor, high-performance coach to the select few that really want to be all they can be. As Joe Batten, who came up with a sales phrase for the United States Army about 15, 20 years ago, he said, be all you can be. Yeah. Coincidentally, Joe Batten and I have been in business together. And for the younger audience that don't realize it, Joe Batten was Ross Perot's mentor. Okay. And Ross Perot is a blast from the past. Yeah. Ran for president against, or pretended to run for president against Bush 1 back a long time ago.
He got one of the largest independent votes.
Correct. Yeah.
In history.
He kept Bush from being a president the second time.
Right, and that's why Clinton got elected because of Perot.
Correct, absolutely. And so I decided to, I was an out-of-work founder and former CEO of a public company, on the London Stock Exchange, and we were in the energy business. We were international, South America. We were in offshore drilling, coal mining, exploration, and we were across the board except for retail to gasoline stations. And the shareholders decided that I shouldn't be there anymore. Our largest shareholder was the Kuwaiti government, and Kuwait had just been invaded by Iraq.
Okay, and Kuwait, 1990 or something.
Yes, correct. And Kuwait owned 29.9% of our company, the company that I founded. And the stock price went down about 60% because everybody thought the Kuwaitis were going to have to sell assets to pay for the war. Okay. No matter how much I ran around the world telling people that I knew better than that, the stock still dropped. Okay, then it was obvious when the U.S. stepped in to help Kuwait beat Iraq, then they said, well, they're going to need to sell all their assets to rebuild Kuwait, which I also knew was rubbish.
All right. Well, we'll get into the details of that. So you left that company.
I left that company. They exited me.
Okay, they exited you from that company.
Yeah, and then I decided, what am I going to do? And a good friend of mine said, Dan, you're a great speaker. Why don't you coach? Why don't you give back until you decide what you want to do the next round? And so I started coaching, and I gave my first Quantum Leap Advantage seminar in May 1993 at the Sheraton Hotel, Los Angeles. And then I gave, shortly thereafter, I gave my first Castle seminar. And I don't give the outside seminars anymore, but I still give the Castle seminars almost 21 years later.
That's when people come up to your castle and
Correct,
it's kind of
for a
more
week.
A private seminar.
And the whole idea is to be around the ambiance of the rich and the famous, and how it's a different style of living, how butlers wait on you hand and foot, how we dress, we actually dress for the seminar.
I've seen your guys, they all show up in kilts.
Yeah, well,
Is that
no,
right?
that's the graduation night.
Okay.
Instead of tuxedo, it's the Scottish tuxedo, kilt, black jacket. But I mean, for the seminars, and even the people that are like to wear T-shirts and jeans, they wear suits to the seminar.
Okay.
And even though I know you can make money, especially in the Silicon Valley type places, high tech, not wearing suits, all I know is when I go into a banker, or even some of my technology mentees go into a banker, the banker feels more comfortable when he looks like you.
Yeah, and if you're asking for money, one of my old friends said he always wears a suit.
Correct.
Yeah, but you're outdressing me today in a big way.
I didn't mean to. I just came from a meeting in the city. Okay.
One of my old city colleagues, we used to have a casual dress on Friday, and this is from my old company, ICAP PLC, FTSE 100, and we'd come in dressed casual, and he would say, casual dress, casual attitude, and he wasn't impressed with that.
Oh, I couldn't agree with him more.
But that's not you being a grumpy old man.
No,
You're being
it's not. I was like this 30 years ago.
Okay. So you think
Speaking of 30 years ago, excuse me for interrupting, today is the 30th anniversary from April 4th, 1984. I came up with the idea, the epiphany, to go public, take something public in London, on the London Stock Exchange. I didn't have anything to take public, so I took an option out on a bunch of assets, and nobody had ever taken an option public before, and that's really, and the rest is history.
And that was on the North Sea drilling, the option to...
No, the option was on all North American drilling.
Okay.
But I was riding on the back of North Sea because they had just founded the North Sea. But,
okay, and that was 30 years ago.
30 years ago today.
And that's was one of your biggest business successes.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest. It's in the top 10 for sure.
Okay. Now, just to finish off with these seminars, you think it's the most important to get these people up to your castle. They're small groups, right? 20-some people? Or
8 to 12.
8 to 12, okay. And so you're kind of a mentor to the ultra entrepreneur, the ultra person. I guess these are people that already have some type of a success or high net worth?
No.
Not necessarily.
The last seminar in January, and we're just about to have one next week, we had an 18-year-old high school student.
Really?
Who paid for himself. And guess what?
How much does it cost?
20, well, without flights, it's 15 grand.
Okay.
Dollars.
Okay.
Actually, with exchange rate, it's about 16.5 now.
Okay.
He's coming again in April, this high school kid.
And you charge him full price, Dan?
No, students get...
Okay.
Okay. But you got to prove to me you're a student.
Okay.
I got guys your age trying to prove to me that they're students, and they send me their bar mitzvah picture when they're 13 years old. Then they show up and they're, 45 years old. No, but student, I won't tell you what the student rate is, but it's a lot less.
Okay.
But he's coming for the second time because he's making money on the internet. And he makes between $6,000 and $15,000 a month as an 18-year-old high school student, senior. And in fact, but he's coming again in April, and he's got I haven't seen this on paper, but he's got a place at Oxford.
Okay.
He's considering not going. Now that's a big heavy weight on me.
Bill Gates style, Zuckerberg style.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And he's that kind of smart.
Okay.
And he thinks that Gates and Zuckerberg got started late in life.
Okay.
He's 18.
He's 18. Let me ask you a question. When it comes to you seeing all these people that come to you for advice, is it come down to the business, or is it, at the end of the day, are you exercising personal demons about themselves? Fear of trusting themselves, fear about taking risks. Are you more
You
a
should give
psychologist?
the seminar.
I should.
That's it.
Okay. You're more psychologist than, say, businessmen, right? Because some of these businesses, internet businesses, you probably don't understand or don't need to understand.
No, actually, I do understand.
You do, because you have some businesses like
yeah,
that.
because I've been in IT for 17, 18 years.
Okay.
But no, it is. I'm part Freud, part General Patton, and part Jack Welch.
Right. Okay. The famous CEO of GE for so many years. Am I the first guy to make comparisons between General Patton and you, or has it been done before?
No, it's been done before.
Okay.
But I tell people there's two ends of the leadership and continuum. There's the Henry Kissinger end, and there's General Patton end. Okay, 95% of all people, successful people, fall on the Henry Kissinger end.
Okay. Which is a compromiser.
Compromiser, negotiate, etc. The art of war, kind of. Even though they were warriors, the art of war. So you hold your friends close and your enemies closer.
Okay.
Okay. I'm at the George Patton end of the continuum.
Okay.
Okay. I don't hold my friends close. I hold them very close, but I don't hold my enemies closer. And but when you, like Steve Ballmer, the former CEO of Microsoft, just gave a speech at Oxford Debate Club or Debate, I can't remember what the name of it is, and it's on YouTube. It's a great hour and 10 minutes watch. And he comes in jumping up and down, screaming, clapping his hands.
That's what he does, right?
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I do.
Okay.
And
on stage you get excited?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Normally on stage after 30, 40 minutes, this suit or a suit like it is soaking wet. Okay, and I'm not having heroin withdrawals. I mean, it's soaking wet. And he was saying, some of the things that they did at Microsoft, and he's trying to explain why he was only a two-trick company, Microsoft. And to be a truly great company, he said you got to be a three-trick.
Okay.
And I agree, but I think two tricks is enough to be a great company because I think Microsoft is a great company. But they're loud people and there's quiet people, but most people's disposition are at the Henry Kissinger end. I'm certainly not that. At that end. And Peter Sage isn't at that end.
Right.
One of my mentees, he's at the Patton. He's a little more polite than I am.
Right, but he is still on the Patton end.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's in the Patton 10-15%.
One thing I like about Peter is he definitely holds people accountable. And when I asked him, I think we talked about what Peter calls upgrading your peer group. I don't know if he grabbed that from you or not. It's been said by a lot of people before, but it was, get rid of the people that are bringing you down because
dead weight.
The average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and he was quite militant about getting rid of those people.
I couldn't agree more. One of the most successful mentees who lives here in London, who came to the seminar in 1996. He came back and he, on his phone when you called him, it said, "This is so-and-so. If you don't have my forwarding number, go fuck yourself. I never want to see you again." That was the extreme. He's a very successful guy in the city, extremely successful. And I'm not suggesting everybody can do that because we have 2 bank accounts in life. Just like we had 2 ends of the continuum for leadership. We've got an emotional bank account and a financial bank account. Most of us, not me, but most of us worry about the financial bank account. But it's your emotional bank account that you're going to run out when it's cold and windy and you're at night, nobody there to wipe your tears away. It's your emotional bank account, whether you can suck up your pantyhose, a phrase I use, or man up, to use new parlance.
Yes.
Those are the guys that make it.
Okay.
And the people that can't man up don't.
Interesting. So that's
woman up, excuse me, ladies.
Yeah, woman up. That's what makes the successful people is you're saying that deep emotional bank account.
Passion.
Okay. And I guess having a support base too to get you through those times.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, just like in the seminar, the YouTubes that are on about the seminar I give, the first 5 minutes of the seminar we tape in the morning, at lunch, after lunch, and just before we close, 3 times during the week. I have the same fire and passion the first 5 minutes of the seminar as I do the last 5 minutes of the seminar a week later. Whereas the guys in the audience, the gals in the audience, nobody goes to sleep in my seminars because I kick the chairs out from under you. I have this writing crop that I go on and I smack the desk with.
It sounds like it's worth the price of admission.
Yes, I mean, when I hear people use the terminology that came out about 15, 20 years ago, boot camp.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually been through a real boot camp.
Okay, you were in the service.
Yes, I was in the service. I went through officer candidate school, Ranger, and all that stuff I've done. And to call these marketing seminars a boot camp is a joke. I mean, these guys, most of the people that give the seminars would piss their pants if they really went through boot camp.
Okay.
Okay? And so it's emotionally tough. You know, I wasn't a Marine, I was an Army officer, but it's the guys that are emotionally tough. And that's why I've trained Peter Sage like that, and I've trained a whole bunch of other guys to be more emotionally tough and to look within, okay, and to practice success before you're successful. One of the stories, and I know Peter remembers it, before I had any money, I used to go to the Rolls Royce dealers and sit in the cars and smell the leather, touch the leather, okay? And these days, this is 40 years ago, I went to $1 million houses, and my wife and I would walk through the house, and they'd say, when are your parents getting here, kids? No, we are the buyers, okay? And to get used to it, and that's the reason the castle is so effective. And the reason I stopped giving outside seminars is that the success rate is almost 5 times greater going to the castle, having a butler wait on you, dressing, thinking more of yourself, because self-esteem is the key to high performance. If we feel good about ourselves and we hang around with people, the average of the 5 people that we are mostly around is who we turn out to be. And Peter has articulated that very well. And it's not for me to tell you who his friends were 18 years ago. That's for him to say. But they're not the same people that are his buddies, if you will, today.
What do you do when you see a guy that comes into one of your seminars and you can just tell he's kind of a little bit emotionally unstable? You know, if you yelled at him to man up, he might just break down, but you can see he's got real potential there. You know, how can you get someone to get strong that way?
Because I break him down in the seminar, but then during the private time, I build him up.
Okay.
Okay, because we've had plenty of people cry in the seminar. We've had one psychiatrist pass out, because we have medical doctors, Harvard doctors. We've had one psychiatrist actually pass out. We've had a big 8 accounting firm, now big 4, that actually went to potty in his pants.
Okay.
Okay. And he's still around in the city.
Okay.
Okay. And if I name the firm, you probably could guess who it is.
Did he learn something from you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. He's now one of the big muckety-mucks for one of the big 4.
What's the first thing that you see when people walk in, as far as the most common thing you see from people that they need to change about
Lack of self-assurance.
Really?
Lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth. Now, they think they have self-worth.
Right.
They think because they've made a few bucks. But in actuality, and when they measure it against the other 8, 10, 12 people sitting around the table, they realize, or they start to question, hell, maybe I was just lucky. Now, all of us, when you're only a one-trick guy or gal, think, was I lucky? Now, I've done it so many times, I know I wasn't lucky. I might have been lucky the first time, but I haven't been lucky the 15, 20, 40, 50. I know that.
Okay.
But maybe I was lucky the first time. And maybe that's why I get such a great feeling of pulling the guys across the goal line. But they all have it's like the first date you ever went on. Do you remember asking the girl?
Yeah, I think so. Terrified.
Okay. I was too. I practiced in front of the mirror. I practiced in front of my mom. I practiced in front of my little dog. And I was still scared when I asked her. And then I saw her at our 30-year high school reunion, and I said, Dan, my God, why were you worried about asking this woman out?
All right, we'll get back to that one. Let me ask you another question. When people come into your seminar and you're looking to kind of change them in some way, how long does it take you to figure out what's wrong with them?
No more than a week.
Okay, I thought you might say like 30 seconds.
No. I said no more than a week.
Okay.
Because some people don't talk. See, some people won't talk, and we have exercises, we have role playing, because raising money in the city or in New York or in Tokyo or in any place, it's a matter you've got to be able to interface. And so we do financial role playing. We show them how to get board of directors, because I'm a big proponent of the dream team. How you get accountants to represent you on a success fee basis, which everybody says is impossible. Happening today in London as we speak. Today, I just came from a meeting, a success fee meeting. Today, April 4th, 2014. But if you go and you call up an accountant,
they'll say no to that.
Oh, what are you, crazy?
Right.
Okay, what are you smoking, kid? So it still happens. And so it's all about communication, because communication is message sent, message received, and then message acted upon when I want you to do it, not when Brian wants to do it. And that's leadership. And so, but I can tell normally in 30 to 60 seconds whether it's going to be hard work, because I give them a free year mentoring program after the seminar.
Okay.
For 1 year. So that's why about a third of my time is pro bono, because I'm spending a third of my year learning these over a year, 25 to 35 business models better than they know it, because make them give me weekly reports. And in some cases, daily reports. If I really think you're shiftless, and I got any chance, because I want to make everybody successful. Okay, Brian, I can tell. You walked away from such and such, you did such and such. Daily reports.
You want daily reports after the seeing this?
Yeah, after daily reports. Daily reports.
Yeah, you got to whip me in shape, Dan.
Well, I think that's not for the audience is still here. Me talk about the person, the charming fellow that's interviewing me.
All right, so you
even though you're from San Diego.
Yeah, but you're from Los Angeles, right?
Correct. No, East LA.
East LA. Okay, your surname's Pena.
Peña.
So you are a Mexican American.
Yes, correct.
And you're a long way from home.
You got that right.
East LA. I mean, come on, this is East LA. This is, how old are you? You're 70 next year.
No, yeah, I'll be 69 in a couple months. 70 next year. There's a picture on my site that shows me standing out in front of my house, where my house used to be. The picture was taken in 1993 in the barrio. You can see it's the barrio when you look at the picture. And then there's a picture of my wife and I standing in front of the castle, 2013, 20 years later. And then there's a picture down in the left-hand corner, because I just bungee jumped for the first time in New Zealand 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's a quantum leap. So, and then it says, picture's worth 1,000 words. I hadn't really thought about it until after I jumped. And then somebody said, Dan, did you do that as a promotional?
Because it's a quantum leap.
Yeah,
and that's the name of your seminars.
That's a great idea. And so, but when we were there jumping, it was real windy. And all the young guys, your age to 25, were all talking about jumping. It's too windy, they said. Mm. So I look around, and I'm the only guy that jumped all day. All day. And the kids say, are you all right? And I don't lie, but I had to lie on the form, because I have a artificial hip, artificial shoulder. I got more things busted up than you can count. And the only thing I don't have is a bad heart and high blood pressure.
Okay.
So I fudged on it, because they weren't going to let me jump. And I jumped.
How was the jump?
Oh, it was. I wasn't nervous getting up to the jump. I wasn't nervous until I hit the bottom and I heard the snap.
Okay.
And then I look up, I said, I hope the fuck this thing holds. And then these little skinny kids are pulling me up on a winch, an automatic winch. And these kids,
it takes forever.
Yeah, it took forever.
I jumped one time, and I bounced to the top, and when I came back up to the first bounce, I felt this kind of zero G situation on that first bounce. That was a little freaky.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Do you know that you can pop your retinas out?
On the way, with the acceleration, with
Correct.
the G's you hit on the
snap,
bottom, really.
The snap, and all these other things. 18 people died last year doing bungee jumps.
Okay. You going to do it again, or you're done?
I'm going to go to one of my goals between now and I'm 70 is to go to the biggest bungee jump in the world.
Okay. All right, take me back to East LA. Where's your accent, by the way? Your English is, almost the Queen's English. You have no Mexican accent.
No, my parents. My dad was a cop. My mother was a housewife. My parents tried very, very hard. They didn't speak Spanish at home because they wanted me to speak English. And even though my father spoke Japanese, French, Spanish, and English, my mother spoke Spanish, French, and English. So I learned speaking English. So that's I don't have any accent.
How did you get out of East LA?
When my dad and my mother, we moved from the barrio to a little better neighborhood. When I was taking the picture of my former home in the barrio, there was a drive-by shooting while I was taking the picture. Just a couple
20
blocks,
years ago.
1993, just a couple blocks away. And of course, the camera guys and everybody, are peeing their pants because of the noise. And I just told them it's a backfire. Don't worry about it. Just keep rolling.
Right.
Keep rolling. And but my life changed when I was pretty much a haphazard kid, got in a lot of trouble, got arrested 4 or 5 times, thrown in jail. And this is with my dad as a cop. Imagine this. This is not too.
I guess he didn't like that very much.
No, that's an understatement. But then I volunteered for the draft in 1966 at the height of the Vietnam War. And I went to OCS, and that changed my life because it was the really first real high performance thing that I could measure myself against with other people. And
it was a boot camp.
No, well, I mean,
this is officer training.
Officer candidate school, 6 months long.
Okay.
I went to the regular boot camp, which is 4 months, and then you go to officer school where they, in those days, they could still beat you. If you got captured in doing maneuvers, they would put battery wires to your testicles.
They would?
Absolutely.
It's the Army.
Correct.
Okay.
United States Army.
Wow.
And now even SEALs, and I have a lot of respect for Navy SEALs, they let you go home at the weekends now.
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me? Anyway.
So why was officer training school important for you? Like you said, you could measure yourself. You could
measure against
quantify
other people that were striving to be high performance.
Okay. Brought out the competitive side of you.
Correct.
And where did that lead you?
That led me to go, I got commissioned.
Trump went to military school when he was a kid.
Yeah, when he
Trump
was
was
a
a
kid.
real punk when he was a kid.
Correct.
And his father sent him to a military.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And really straightened him out.
2/3 of all Fortune 500 CEOs have one thing in common: military background.
Really?
2/3 of those 2/3 have something else, which you can probably relate to: martial arts.
Really?
What do you learn in martial arts, Brian? Discipline, focus, right?
Yes.
Do I have to? I don't need to write this book for you, right?
No,
okay.
those are good.
Okay. So it changed my life, and I came out, and I originally thought I was going to be a regular Army officer, but the Vietnam War was winding down, and I knew that I wasn't going to get to be a general quick. And speaking of generals, Tommy Franks, who the commander of Desert Storm 1, went to OCS same time I did.
Okay. But he stayed in the military.
He stayed in the military. Okay?
Do you ever regret not staying in the military?
Sometimes when I say sarcastically, tongue-in-cheek, sometimes when I have an interview like this, if I'd be a 4-star general, I could just tell you what I wanted to say and not have to answer questions. I'm being facetious now. No, but dealing with some of the people that I've dealt with, because I tell my staffs and I tell various companies that I'm involved in, when I see mistakes, if we were at war, we'd all be dead. You understand what I'm saying? If we were at war, because they think a little error, we're dead. I mean, if we were in the shuttle going to the moon, we're history. I mean, we're toast. We're dead. And so I'm very exacting. Earlier today, I had a conference call with my Asian key team, 13 or 14 people, and they think, well, I'm not fat, but a fat, old, rich chairman. He's probably not going to want to, the day after he lands from a 15-hour flight that turned into 17 and a half hours, he's not going to want to have his weekly meeting. I was there,
Checking the numbers.
And as usual, I'm more prepared than anybody in my staff. I know the questions to ask that aren't in the PowerPoint because, they can show you the PowerPoint on the screen, even though I'm not there. And I ask questions. I ask tough questions.
So detail-oriented. That you were taught that by the military.
Correct.
There's an astronaut named Christopher Hatfield. He's actually a Canadian astronaut, but he spent a good amount of time up in space. He's got a book called An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth.
Oh, I just saw that on the internet.
Oh, yeah, it's good. I listened to the audiobook, actually. And he talks about how, as an astronaut, you prepare for every single contingency. You prepare for all the contingencies that never happen. And he was just saying how just being that prepared, allows him to get through life, in all these ways.
I have another way of saying it: prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Okay. Yes. And now, do you have a lot of these phrases that you say?
Pennyisms.
Earlier, I said we had a guest on Silicon Reel yesterday. She's on the board of the London Stock Exchange, and she said, make decisions on imperfect information. That's what she said. But you had a different way of saying that.
The other way of saying that is perfection equals paralysis.
Okay. So you can never make a perfect decision.
No. If you left it to engineers, no car would ever come off the assembly line. No car would ever come off the assembly line. And I've been in business with enough engineers, I can attest to that with my hand on my heart. They'd still be trying to make it better. And the internet business is very much the same. The internet kids want to test and test and test, and they want the landing page to be this. And roll it out. The great thing about the internet is your results are instantaneous.
And you can make changes instantaneously.
Correct. I mean, if something that I'm overseeing at Concord level, 60,000 feet, doesn't work in 2 days, Shit can it. Forget about it. Move on. And today at our meeting, now the young kids are, we ran it 3 days, sir, and we closed it down. And they are thinking I'm going to ask why. I said, no, that's fine. Next, because without them making mistakes and without them being allowed to make the decision, they never get any better. And 95% of the time, I know probably better than they do, but we're never going to be able to know everything or have them know everything unless, and they will never know everything, but unless they make some mistakes and get comfortable with making mistakes. But most people, Jack Welch said to me a number of years ago, one of the two biggest problems in business, and he talks about this in the GE way, is one, lack of candor, meaning you can't be honest with your employees and your employees aren't honest with us or with the management. And the second thing is the bureaucracy of getting things done in a big company. When he took over GE as CEO about 25, 30 years ago, he went from 310,000 employees to 140,000 employees. They call him Nitron Jack. He killed all the employees off, but he left the buildings. A neutron bomb doesn't destroy buildings.
Yeah.
And he also had a system that every third year you roll out 20% of the bottom performers with new people.
Interesting.
The truth of the matter is he rolled out every other year 40%. Because there's nothing wrong with trying to build a high-performance environment. Another one of my great influencers is Toyota automobile. He wrote a book called The Toyota Way, and he said, constant supervised stress. Constant supervised, actually I think he used the word organized stress.
What does that mean?
It means keep people accountable, just like Peter Sage says.
Right.
Keep people, what gets measured gets accomplished. And I have signs on most of the business I'm involved in. When you walk in the door, there's a big thing about as big as that painting there. What gets measured gets accomplished.
Right.
Without measurement, you're just fooling yourself.
I've just recently had 2 Google employees in here sitting in that chair, actually, and they have quarterly OKRs, which is like a very specific, quantifiable, accountable goal. And if they don't hit that, apparently you need to hit that like 4 in a row to be even considered for promotion. So that's how they do it there. And they're public, so the whole company can see how you're doing.
Absolutely.
And you can see how everyone else is doing, including the CEO.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with him
What
more.
are your other big role models when it comes to public company CEOs or other like company managers, even today or in the past?
Well, one of my own mentees, who's the CEO and chairman of Alcoa, Klaus Kleinfeld.
Okay.
He was CEO of the 20th largest company in the world, Siemens. He came to me as a middle manager in 1997-98. In 2005, he was promoted to CEO of Siemens. And he's a systems, processes guy. He's a smart guy, but I helped him to get more focused. He's a great leadership guy. He came to speak at my seminar to celebrate my 20th anniversary a year ago this month at the castle, and he says that, and I knew he has senior management meetings from his direct reports twice a week, Tuesday and Friday.
That come from you?
Yes, I have senior management, Tuesday and Friday, okay? And the reason it's not Monday is because some of the people aren't as focused over the weekend, so I give them a day to get caught up before we have, and I always make the management meetings at night. Do you know how popular it is to go to a management meeting on a Friday night?
Oh, yeah. So you see who's really dedicated?
Correct.
Okay. Interesting. Let me ask you something. Besides the business practices, is there other things that you teach at some of your seminars, or the things that you hold yourself accountable, whether that comes to like exercise, mentality, meditation, that kind of thing? Or is that important to be successful in business?
Absolutely. Exercise is critically important. I don't meditate, but a number of my mentees do.
Why don't you meditate, Dan?
I'm pretty zenned out without doing that.
Okay, you're a pretty zen guy.
Yeah, no, not zen in the terms like the audience might think.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm high on life.
Okay.
Okay, and that became popular in the 60s when everybody was doing LSD.
Right.
Okay, but I'm high on life. I always have been high on life. I've got a lot of energy. I have the same energy I have today as I did 30 years ago. And so I have found a need to meditate.
So you're naturally a positive person.
I'm 100% positive.
Okay.
You know, the most contagious thing in the world isn't a positive action, it's a negative thought. A negative thought. And because that can grow geometrically and kill deals, kill even companies for that matter. And so, but I'm extremely positive, you know. I still believe the Wall of China can be built without all the modern equipment. They say now, even with the modern equipment, that the Wall of China can't be built. They say the pyramids can't be built, even with modern equipment. I don't believe that. And the great thing about working with young kids, they don't believe it either. If I tell them you can go do this, we just wrote in one of my newsletters, a 23-year-old kid from Australia went and raised $100,000 in Australia in Melbourne. No assets, no co-signatory, no guarantee. $100,000, kid doesn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Okay, so he's optimistic.
No, I'm optimistic.
You're optimistic.
And he came to the seminar in September.
Okay.
And so
you have a lot of young kids at your seminar.
Yeah, we have, but we have some old. The last seminar was 18 to 52.
Okay. Now, let me just finish with your routine. Exercise is important for you?
Exercising, I exercise at least 6 days a week.
Wow.
And I got up early, exercised this morning. Most of the hotels don't have good gyms.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, some, with greatest respect, some, where I'm staying now, pencil neck geeks must go there because
well, you're a weightlifter.
Well,
so
I used to be a big weight,
weightlifter.
yeah. But I'm still stronger than almost all the other 70-year-old guys that I know. There's a couple exceptions to that. But exercise, what you put in your body, food. I don't drink very much. Once in a while, like last night, I had 2 glasses of red wine, which is an exception. At the seminar, I drink more because if I don't drink at the seminar, nobody drinks.
Right, because they're all worried about what you're going to
Correct.
think. Okay.
So I drink more, and I normally gain 2 or 3 pounds during that week, which takes me a month to get off. It takes me a week to gain, but a month to get off. And I also don't have much time to exercise during the seminar because I'm spending all my, other than the 10 hours a day in the seminar, the extra 5-6 hours a day, I'm talking to you on special time, talking about your personal needs, your wants, your desires, telling you what I changed, how I changed your business model. I used to do an exercise, I don't do it anymore. You give me your business model in 120 seconds and I'll tell you in 60 seconds whether it will work, if it can't work, how to fix it, or whether to shit can it.
Okay, that's your specialty.
Correct.
But you probably charge a lot of money for that.
Well, I do. But I used to do it at the seminar, but I'm only right 95% of the time. And so everybody thinks they're the 5%.
Expression.
Yeah,
Okay.
they think they're the 5%. So now I just work with them, and especially since we added the mentor program 4 or 5 years ago, where I mentor you for a year.
Right, they get that from you.
Yeah, they get that from me.
And is there anything, would you demand that your guys not only give you those progress reports when necessary, do you sometimes demand that they exercise? Do you demand that they write their goals down or write a gratitude journal? Or do you make them do other things?
The report has got 15 items to fill out. One is how much daily exercise,
okay,
how much time on your affirmations, how much time on your goals, how much time building a dream team, how much time on creating new contacts that are high performance people that are outside the average of the 5 bums that you hung around with before the seminar. And some of those people that are detrimental to you, unfortunately, are your family. Because, you know, as a parent, we all love our kids and we try to do our best, but we're not trained to be a high performance person. We're just not, unless you're a Rockefeller, unless you're a Kennedy, which is instilled in you for generations. Parents don't have any clue. The only benchmark that we use, did he go to Harvard? Did he go to Stanford? Did he go to Oxford? But there's a lot more benchmarks. Peter Sage is a good example. He didn't go anyplace.
Right. So you're saying you should get rid of your parents potentially?
No. But just remember, they can love you, but giving you business advice is a joke.
Okay.
Unless they fall into one of those categories I just mentioned.
Right. Talk to me about work-life balance. Is this something you instill on these guys? You're talking about Friday night meetings. You know, do you say that people should take 2 of the 7 days off? Where does that come for you? Is there any work?
No. I'll put it like the CEO of AOL said to on a Bloomberg interview about 2 years ago. And he said the kids were saying, you know, he was in, I forget what school he was at, but he was being interviewed and he said, well, you know, I'm having trouble getting enough rest. And he jumped out of his chair and said, fucking rest? You can sleep when you're 30. He says, I want somebody that works 28 hours a day and bleeds through his eyeballs.
And you agree with that mentality.
Well, I don't need the blood to his eyeballs, but
But you think more work is better.
no, more smart work is better.
Okay.
Most people make play at their work. Just because you might work 12 hours a day doesn't mean you're working 12 hours. You're staying busy 12 hours a day.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Usually the people that tell you they're working 12 hours a day aren't the ones that are working.
Yeah.
Usually the people that tell you how many hours a week.
I still work. I'm retired at 60, 70 hour a week.
Okay. 60, 70.
60 to 70 hours a week.
Okay.
Okay. And when my wife and I go on
I think that's
cruises, I
healthy.
only work probably 3 to 5 hours a day. I'm on the internet, and then I go lie by the pool or whatever. But the 67. When I was your age, I worked 100, 120 hours a week.
Jesus, damn, man, you're trying to make me feel bad here.
No, but you're
Okay.
retired now too.
Let me ask you a question. Why live in Scotland? Why be in the UK? You could be, you could
That's
be
a
on,
great question.
Could be on Central Park. You
I
could
can
be
see
in
why
San
you have
Francisco.
this show now.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
great question.
But you weren't
You know,
sure
Letterman.
before.
Letterman is just.
I could take his job.
Absolutely. Okay. He's zen.
He's pretty zen.
Yeah.
He does the short form chit chat. I don't know if I could do it in 6
You
minutes.
could.
8 minutes.
When I retired the first time on my 39th birthday, because the day I went public and I got wealthy, ostensibly wealthy, it was my 39th birthday.
Okay.
It was also the day.
That can ruin a lot of men if they had success that early.
It tried to ruin me, but it didn't succeed.
Okay.
The second thing is that the day we went public was the day that Mrs. Thatcher was privatizing Jaguar,
Okay.
August 10th, 1984. They said you can't go heads up against the Jaguar privatization. I said, that's BS. So I went and I sold the shares in the city with the help of my brokers. And at the end of the day, the headlines the next morning said, the one that really roared, Great Western Resources, up 20%, Jaguar down 20%. With all the money, etc. I went to Scotland because it's the home of golf, and I had actually thought I could retire after that.
Okay.
I tried to retire, really retire 3 times.
Okay.
And I moved to Scotland because it's the home of golf. I also thought that if we ever had a whole worldwide Holocaust, who's going to come to Scotland?
Okay.
You know?
Oh, you mean like a World War III?
Correct.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
far up north.
Who's going to come to Scotland?
Right, and who wants to go to the Arctic? Right,
Yeah,
so-
yeah. Well, and I wanted to be in a castle on an island. Not the kind of island I thought it was going to be, but Britain's an island, so
Right.
as my wife would say, yeah, it's on an island, Dan. It's close enough.
Singapore's an island.
Yeah, yeah.
But you didn't want to go back to the States.
No, I left the States in 1981.
Okay.
Um,
I'm an American in London, and I must say, I like being an American in the UK. And tell me if this is true about you. I find that I feel like just as much of a Londoner as the Queen in this city. And in a multicultural city like London, I think everyone who lives here is a Londoner. But as an American, I find here I almost can get away with being the American. And if I'm a little hard talking or a little fast talking or a little brash or a little bit like, what's going on here, guys? I get away with it because they're kind of like, well, he's the American, and
Correct.
that's what Americans do. Do you find that that's
yes.
applicable to
okay.
you?
It's easier now to be an American than it was 30, 35 years ago.
What was it like when you were
Well, I
first
used to
here?
wear a bowler.
Okay.
I wore a bowler and I carried a brolly, and this has been my uniform for a lot of years. And
British inspired.
correct.
And why? Were you assimilating?
Well, I was taught by some very smart people a long, long time ago. I used to be with the Onassis Group. Konstantin Gratsos, the CEO of Onassis Shipping, who was the right-hand man for 60 years of Aristotle Onassis.
Onassis, right? The Greek shipping.
Yeah, he says, Dan, just remember, dress British and think Yiddish.
I've never heard that.
Yes.
But I like that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means, well, dress British.
Right.
You know, not being braggadocious, but this is a Savile Road suit, you know.
Very formal.
Yes, and think Yiddish, think in a canny manner, think shrewdly. Nothing derogatory at all. It's a great compliment.
Okay.
And the one thing about the Scots are canny, shrewd people.
Yeah, very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very real.
Yeah, they're almost the opposite of what you'd expect British high society
Yeah.
to be. They're kind of the counterbalance.
Correct, and that's why the Romans built Hadrian's Wall.
Right.
To keep the
them
Picts, or the Scots, as they were called, Picts that they used to be called, from England because they were crazy.
Okay. So you've always dressed like the Brit, but have you embraced your role as the American over here?
Not so much now. I've been here so long. You know, it's a lot of people think that they ask, what kind of name Pena? They can't say Peña. What kind of name is Pena? What kind of Scottish name is that?
They think you're Scottish.
Yeah.
Well, you look kind of, you could be Scottish.
Yeah, I
right?
could be, you know. I'm a light, fair-skinned, blue-eyed Hispanic, so, I mean, I can get away with it.
Do you ever feel ties to, your Latin roots? Did you ever have any desire to reconnect with that whole side of your heritage, or not?
From time to time, I do. But no, my parents didn't raise me like a Hispanic. They thought, rightly or wrongly, I think correctly, that I had a better chance at being successful in life, and they didn't know what that meant. Success to my parents, especially my father, was to keep Dan alive till he reaches the age of reason. Now, he wasn't sure if that was going to be 20, 30, or ever.
Did he state this goal to you?
Yes, he did.
Wow. And you
Okay.
probably thought he was crazy.
No, I got in a lot of trouble. I
Okay.
mean, I was arrested a few times. Mostly, my arrests were alcohol-driven.
Okay.
Alcohol-driven.
Dan gets drunk and does some crazy stuff.
Yeah, or induce other people to do crazy stuff.
Okay.
So I guess
Gang leader.
Yes, I guess I've had these latent leadership qualities even as a kid, and then he lived to see me be successful. He didn't understand what I did, and the only thing he ever asked me, I got a big award in 1981, ostensibly the most successful Hispanic in the United States from the Latin Business Association, and he said, "Just tell me it's not drugs."
What did you tell him?
And I said, "Dad, it's not." I said,
It's probably a very good question in
he says,
1981.
it's oil. He says, he said, selling cans of Pennzoil, Dan, you don't get this kind of money. So that's all he knew is Pennzoil, okay? And I said, well, no, it's legit. I pay taxes even, Dad. He said, okay.
We were talking earlier in the kitchen, I was saying like the oil business in the, 60s and 70s was much like Wall Street later became in the 80s and 90s.
Correct.
And now what I think, tech startup is today, as in that's where the speculators go. What do they call a speculator? Oil man? What do they call them? There's that word.
Wildcatters.
Yeah, wildcatters. And that's where the guys go for the big payoffs and the big risks.
Correct.
And you were in that business.
Correct, yes, I was.
When you see the young tech guys today, you see the guys at Silicon Roundabout here, Silicon Valley, Silicon Alley, is there stuff that you can see similarities between
absolutely.
the wildcatting that you were involved with?
Absolutely. And but now there's more people in the tech business, the internet, than there was in the oil business. Although oil is back at 110 or whatever it is a barrel, right. And so it's had a resurgence the last few years. But in the oil business, just like in coal mining, which I was also in, or mining, you got to get your hands dirty.
Right.
And most of the kids don't want to get their hands dirty.
Okay.
They want to hide behind a computer or computers and trying to generate money. And we all dream to be, I don't dream, but they all dream to be a Zuckerberg,
right.
Or Instagram or one of these guys. And it's possible. But there's only been maybe 15, 20 guys out of the 10 million that are in the business.
Right. Yeah, we celebrate the super success
Correct,
stories.
and that's great.
Yeah, it is great, but
Yeah.
it doesn't tell the whole story.
It's like now, we've talked a lot about, and I don't know if you're going to get around to the $50 billion that I created for my mentees.
I was waiting for you to bring that
Okay,
up.
for my mentees in the last 20 years. But I take just as much pride, the $50 billion that my mentees have created in equity and value in the last 20 years, as my $450 million with $820. Now, the reason I say that is because I've had to take thousands across the goal line. I just saw Forrest Gump for about the 15th or 20th time.
It's a great movie.
And
Robin Wright is in that movie.
okay,
Great actress.
is he? And you remember how he's carrying all these people, and that's how he got the Medal of Honor, carrying them?
Yeah, I know that.
Well, I know what carrying people is. Okay, I mean, I've carried countless, more than you can ever imagine.
Have you ever thrown anyone out of your seminars in Scotland? Have you ever just said,
just
this
one,
is not going to work?
One guy about in the late 90s, one guy.
Bad attitude?
No, he had only paid all the money because he was smitten, infatuated with a lady lawyer who came there. So he just paid to be around her. He thought that, I don't know what he thought. I'm sure we all know what he was thinking. Up there a week, alone, drinking, and I threw him out.
Okay.
But other than that, I have never thrown anybody out.
Okay, so back to what you're saying, carrying people across the goal line.
The goal line, it gives me great satisfaction. And people say, why did it take you 20 years to create? Well, of course, $50 billion is a lot of money. But I mean, where it only took me 8 years to do the $450 million, because I'm having to deal with thousands of people. And but my success rate grew geometrically when I started the mentor program.
Why is that, do you think?
Because I'm one-on-one beating you with the greatest respect, at least weekly. And in your case, you'd be a daily guy.
Oh, man.
A daily. Now just imagine listing everything you goddamn do from the time you get up in the morning to go to sleep.
And you can probably tell if I'm lying, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
And if I think you're lying, I call you. I don't Skype you. I just call you, and you better pick up the goddamn phone. Now, this isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I realize that.
Right.
Because when you talk or you hear people talk about being a 1%er, that's not my goal for my people. It's 0.1%. Let's just say we've got 7 billion people on the earth. It's actually more, but let's call it 7 billion. 0.1% is 7 million. My market is the 7 million. To make you one of the richest 7 million people on the planet, which means you're not making $400,000 a year, which would make you a 1%er. It means you're making multiple millions of dollars a year. I had an email, and it's part of the ebook that I just wrote. A guy over Christmas as my Christmas present. He says, Dan, I know you're going to use this in your next book, but I put $50 million cash in the bank. I mentored him for 5-6 years straight. Then he went off on his own. $50-60 million in the bank, cash, not deals. I had another email during the seminar, and I read it to the kids. Since 2010, when I went to the seminar, I made $200 million. And this guy couldn't give, with the greatest respect, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this guy couldn't give away ice to an Eskimo.
And you straightened him out.
Yeah. He doesn't love me, but I'm not here for their love. 20 years from now, all I want is their respect.
Why are you doing this? I mean, like you stopped doing business to your own, and you're mentoring these people. That could be the evolution of you. You're giving back a little bit, as opposed to being completely self-centered in the generation.
Giving back
of
a
your
lot,
wealth. A lot,
not a little bit.
Okay,
a lot.
A lot. Why do it? You ever look at why
Yeah,
you do
sure
it?
I do, and I get asked all the time. The meeting I just came from in the city, the guys when they're walking me to the lift, which the Brits still do.
They walk you to the lift.
Yeah, and he says, "Why, Dan?"
I'll walk you to the lift.
Okay, yeah. Well, you had to go and come get me out of the street because I went to the wrong building.
I was being British too.
Okay, and I said because I can't say that this was my goal when I started, but in the last 10, 12 years, it's evolved, it's morphed. I've pivoted because now I found a way to make it even more successful, and nobody likes success more than I do. And I get off. I've got a guy that had 1 O level in carpentry. You know what an O level is?
No.
Okay, O level is you're 16 years old, you don't go to school, and you take O levels for ordinary, called ordinary grades. One guy with an O level, we did a $400 million public to private deal here in London. 1 O level, public to private, $400 million bucks. Nobody on the planet can do that, or nobody has done it, I should say. And the guy had 1 O level.
All right, so you take pride in your mentoring.
Oh, I mean, I do, and I beat him like a rented mule.
Okay.
But see, I'm like Tom Landry, the former coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys.
I do what you know, what you don't want to do, but that you know that you got to do to be where you want to be.
So you're the hard ass.
I'm the Vince Lombardi.
And I'd have to contact you every day, Dan?
By email.
Really?
Yeah.
And what would you tell me after, say, a week of my progress report?
Well, maybe after one day.
Okay.
After one day, I email you back, or I might tweet you, and I'll say, Brian.
In all caps.
Yeah, all caps. Brian, what are you smoking? And I said, do you actually want me to?
I don't smoke.
Huh?
I don't smoke.
No, but
I know
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, do you actually want me to believe this is true? I said, if I get another one of these, there's only going to be one more of these, and then since I'm mentoring you for free, I got nothing to lose. Because, and I don't mean this sounds really rough to some of the kids that are watching this. Nobody that I mentor is going to change my life.
Right.
Zero. But I can change their lives. And every single person we figure I've touched minimum 250,000 people, is maybe much as 1 million. If you just count
videos or people that know
but
people,
if you just count traffic on my website, 250 to 300,000 people, that's a minimum because we subtracted for people that go on the site more than once and done all that stuff, all the permutations and the Google Analytics. So 250,000 people, and I've got people that said, you help me make 50 grand. I have people that say, you help me make 10 grand. And I have so many, 500,000, 1 million, 5 million, 25 million, 50 million, 600 million, 1 billion, 12 billion.
Okay, all right, we understand. So you're successful at this.
Yes, I am.
What when are you going to want to stop doing this? You're turning 70 next year. Is this something that's in your DNA that you feel really good that you have human contact with people, you're always constantly trying to solve problems, you have a scorecard in the net worth you generate? Are you slowing down? Are you going to change things up at all?
No.
Are you ever going to go back and put something on yourself again? I know you get involved with businesses here and there. Do you miss?
Probably not. This is more fun. I don't know whether to shit or go blind.
What does that mean?
That's an oil field term. Means that it's happiness.
Okay.
I mean, it just I really enjoy it. And one of the reasons that I'm as lucid as I am is when you got to keep track of 20, 30 models. And understand them. Now, most coaches, life coaches, in my judgment, don't understand. They know the platitudes. They don't know really about Brian. They don't know what you really tick. They don't know you are the way you are because your mother did this, or your sister did that, or your dad always had a favorite and it wasn't you. They're not interested in all that crap. It's not crap. It's part of your emotional bank account.
Do you delve into that stuff?
Absolutely.
Oh, you do?
Because there's a reason why you do the things you do.
Definitely.
And as we discussed somebody earlier about self-sabotaging activities, it's why the former CEO of Dunlap about 15, 20 years ago, who was at the top of his game, he got ousted because he promoted some girl from human resources up to such and such, and he wound up that he almost made it public that he was sleeping with her. Now, why would a guy at the top of his game do something so stupid?
See it a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people don't believe they deserve to be there.
Right. You must come across those people all the time.
All the time.
What do you do with that?
Okay. I convince them, and we have these drills, why you belong there. A lot of people that come there, with money, that have made money, think they made it by accident.
Right.
I just had one of my superstars who's made $100 million tell me in the last week, I'm not sure I'm going to have another lucky accident. It's the first time he ever said that to me.
Okay.
I mean, my neck almost went around like in The Exorcist. And I said, you did it. I mean, you tried a lot of things. I believe Thomas Edison, I wouldn't have done it 10,000 times.
Okay.
I would have hired an engineer from MIT to do it. But I mean, I've tried a lot of things. Nobody's failed at more things than I have. And the first 100 million are successes, but I could write a book about failures that would be like Churchill's volumes, The History of World War II. I mean, because I've tried a lot of different things. Because failure is just testing. And one of the reasons I've been so successful in generating this equity and value in my kids, and I call you all kids, is because I convince them that making a mistake is okay. Your parents probably told you, you can be anything you want.
They did.
That's bullshit.
It's a very American thing.
Yeah, but you can't. That's horseshit. You can't. If it's all juxtaposed, Obama is a great example of the juxtaposition of life.
Okay.
Okay? I don't agree with his politics, but I admire his audacious goals. Audacious goals. God bless him for that. Or Allah, or whoever you want to bless him with.
Right.
And but you can't be. You can be anything you want. You can be president and not have gone to an Ivy League school. Not likely. Okay? You can be prime minister and not have gone to Oxford, Cambridge, University of Edinburgh. Not likely. So, but what you tell them is that you can do anything you want that you have passion for, because that eliminates most of the crap. Because most people don't follow their dream. Like they say in The Sound of Music, you can't have a dream come true unless you have a dream. Now, I still dream. I dream in Technicolor. I say my affirmations and goals every single night, or at least 5 nights a week. When I'm on the plane, 15-hour flight, I didn't do it on the plane. Okay. But I have done it on the plane before.
Is this like 10 goals and 10 affirmations?
No, I have 20 affirmations, 17 goals.
And these are constant, or you write it?
No, they change. They vary.
Okay. Affirmations are things you believe about yourself. Can you give me two or three of them?
I feel great being 200 pounds like I was when I was 43.
You look great.
Yeah, thank you. And I weigh 210, so I'd like to lose another 10 pounds. But if I never lost another 10 pounds, it's not the end of the world. okay? But me striving to not gain weight keeps me where I am. Okay, affirmation. I feel comfortable living, comfortable, excited, and privileged living in a penthouse in Trump Towers. Okay? Of course, I'd go to Trump Towers. I'd look at them. I'd smell them. I don't have to do that now, but that's what I used to do. I've been driving Rolls Royces since I'm 26 years old.
And you affirm that that's okay.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not everybody's cup of tea. That's why we're only after the small percentage of the people. Plus, I normally save this for the last, like sex. It all comes at the end, but I'm going to tell you now.
Okay.
While I'm thinking about it. It's bloody hard to be a high-performance person. Which I want to make sure I look into the camera. Are they all looking at me?
They're all looking at you.
Okay. It's bloody hard, and any person that tells you any different is full of shit. And they haven't been successful because, except for a few exceptions like Tony and a couple other guys, they've all made their money.
Tony Robbins.
Yes, Tony Robbins. Putting asses on seminar seats, selling books, and CDs.
This is your competition, you're saying?
Well, there is no competition.
Oh, yeah, there's no competition.
Okay.
These are these are not fellow. These are the life coach industry. I'm sure you hate
Yeah,
that
no,
industry.
personal development, high performance, whatever they call them.
Right.
That's what they tell you. But it's not, Tony has helped millions, probably millions, I don't know. Last time I checked, he had touched 2 or 3 million people. God bless him.
Yeah.
But if you can find one of these coaches that has taken zero and turned it into $100 million, I'll jump off the top of this building without a parachute.
Okay, so your track record speaks for itself. And,
Correct.
And people have to understand it's hard work.
It's bloody hard work.
You tell people all the time, you try to give them reasons to stop listening to you, to stop subscribing
Unsubscribe to my newsletters. Unsubscribe to my ebook.
Okay.
In fact, Brian, from a marketing point of view, I stopped selling my product a while back because I found out it's for free on torrent. I didn't even know what torrent was a couple years ago.
Okay.
And I said, fine, I beg you, get it from torrent. Don't bother me.
Because you didn't want to sell it anymore.
No, I don't care. I only got product in the 90s, middle 90s, because somebody said we needed it. You're going to increase your track record for success, which was true. But I didn't know it was going to all be free 10 years later. So now people call me if you want a real crisp copy of the book like I just gave you.
Yeah.
I still sell it to you. But I also tell you that I have tons of free content on my website. I've got enough free content for it to last you a year. Studying every day like a master's degree.
Okay.
But if you really want, and maybe that'll make you a millionaire. If you're not, it'll make you a few bucks. But if you really want baptism by fire, you figure out to scratch credit cards together, whatever you have to do to get to the castle seminar.
Right, and see you in the castle.
I also have a student plan for young kids,
Right,
and I've got some other stuff. But
let me ask you a question. We're very zen here on this show, and we talk a lot about.
I'm here anyway.
Yeah, you're here anyways. Exactly. We like to shake it up here and try some different things. What if I said to you, okay, this guy is going to be ultra successful. He's going to make $1 billion. What if I said, Dan, why does it matter what he makes?
It doesn't matter.
Or my question is, to you, that is the ultimate metric of success.
No. Money's not the only thing in life, but it's the only thing anybody keeps track of. It's measurable, accountable. Since the pharaohs.
Okay, right.
Size of the pyramids, etc. Okay.
It's a metric you can keep track
Correct.
of. I wouldn't say it's the only thing people keep track of.
No, it's the only thing that you write down. I keep track of the lives I change now. That's a new metric for me.
Okay, that's a good metric. I like that.
Okay.
Metric.
I hadn't really thought about it, whether it's Zen or not. It probably is Zen.
It is a little more Zen, yes.
But don't give me too much credit for Zen, more than I deserve. But it's not for everybody. But what I give you, Brian, is the ability to have more choices. I have more. I'm just assuming I have more money than you. So I'm going to say that I have a lot more choices than you do.
Because you have more money than me.
Correct. And I support 3 orphanages. I support 160 girls my wife and I adopted. We support 25 nuns, a few priests. We support the prevention for cruelty to animals. We support all kinds of stuff because I have more choices in life. I take 4 or 5 months a year traveling with my lovely wife because we can make more choices because we have been successful. I've worked over 40 years. She's almost worked 30 years.
Do you ever think your money can hinder you in some way?
No. If you work hard at it, no. People that don't work, like the young kid Beaver, Justin Beaver, whatever his name is,
Beaver,
he's
yeah.
getting in all the trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's young.
But anyway.
If you had that much money at 21, Lord knows what you'd be doing without the military.
Without the military.
Yeah.
But what he needs is to go to a real boot camp, that kid. That kid needs to go
Do you ever see guys that come to you and that their success or their obsession with financial success is really plugging an emotional hole that they should find some other way to sort out?
No question about it.
Really?
No question about it. And so, and we're not always successful. We're successful most of the time. But we try to make them understand why they've got that emotional hole. And and when we have the private time, you bring in husband and wife. I talk to the husband separately and the wife separately. The husband thinks that everything's Jake, meaning everything's cool.
Right.
Okay. The wife says, I'm going to leave him next month.
And he has no idea.
What a dipshit, you know?
Okay.
Of course, guys aren't that smart about stuff like that anyway.
Sure.
So, he thinks I love the business. I hate the business. I hate going to the office every day. I hate him and now I hate him going to the office every day. And you have to be in touch, and again, it's communication. In touch, but not just your feelings like in a Zen, but you have to be in touch with other people's attitudes. And a lot of very successful entrepreneurs drive like a Vince Lombardi or a General Patton, but they're not in touch with the 10,000 people they have or the 30 people they have, because they have different desires, different wants. But when we have, in my company's an interviewing process, we have a corporate video that we put out. It's not on YouTube. We have a corporate video that has some of the people that I've trained with some very successful people. And there's one theme across, and I'm just going to give one example. Ted Turner just gave his 75th anniversary party on CNN a few months ago. And he makes a couple of comments, and he says, number one, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody. It's how I live, though. First 10 years of my starting CNN, I slept on my couch. I didn't have an apartment. Bill Gates slept in the office. Steve Jobs slept in the office. And I can go down a whole list. Now, these are super successful, mega wealthy guys. I slept in my office. Not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice. But it's not the only thing. But even if you don't sleep in your office, if you want to send your kids to a better school, if you want to be able to take care of your mother when she gets dementia, if you want to, this all takes money. Not Zen. I never paid a bill with Zen.
Okay.
I never heard of anybody paying a bill with Zen.
But I would argue that once you have enough money to live or live reasonably well, that extra 10, 20, 100 billion dollars doesn't necessarily get you incrementally happier.
No, but it can make somebody else incrementally happier because you give it away. My children aren't getting any of my money when I die.
Good. I like that. Very Warren Buffett.
Okay. Not one centavo, not one penny.
Centavo.
Okay.
Okay.
And two of my kids are cool with it. One of them's not so cool with it. But I'm not going to, I think Andrew Carnegie, by the way, Andrew Carnegie, arguably the richest, most successful entrepreneur of all time, comes from Dunfermline, Scotland, just down the road from a castle.
Okay.
He said the best thing that you can have for a child is him to be born into poverty. And I agree.
You do agree. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard that from a few people. We had the astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson on here recently, and he said the same thing. He said immigrant parents come to America, they make it all really well, and then they spoil their kids and they miss the immigrant experience. So
correct.
I see what you mean by that.
My mother, forgive me, Mom, swam against, as legend has it, swam across the Rio Grande River from Mexico to Texas. She was born in Mexico. My dad was born in the United States. So, and right now I'm trying to get a Mexican passport.
Really?
Because my mom was born there. It's not so easy.
Okay. Interesting. Let me ask you another question. First of all, thank you for your persistence for contacting me and coming on the show. I appreciate that. I always learn things from people that come here. With the castle and your lifestyle, do you ever think, and the money, Do you ever think, in a weird way, it's a buffer from you from dealing with like the harsh reality? What if we took all that away from you and you had to like start again in Manhattan somewhere and build yourself back
I'd be
up?
richer the second time around than the first.
Do you think, but you said you have to struggle in order to learn. You have to go through tough times in order to learn.
Correct.
Do you ever think to yourself and look in the mirror and when you're in your castle and you're like, you know what, I need to get rid of all this stuff. I need people to meet me and not know that I'm, Dan Pena of the castle in my CV, and I need people to tell me straight and be like, who the hell is this guy? And have to, start over again. Do you ever think that would be one of the ultimate challenges for you?
No, but I got a better challenge.
Okay.
Bringing 25,000 people across the goal line that should be living in a homeless shelter is much more satisfying than that.
Mm. No, I agree with that. I just wondered if that ever comes to
No,
your mind.
not at all. Plus, I don't have castle on my forehead when and when I was on the plane yesterday, sitting in my jeans and
I can't picture you in jeans.
yeah, I was jeans and a shirt. Nobody knew who I was, and that's just fine. And but I enjoy nice things. I always have. My wife, who's also from a poverty background, who lived in a little caravan when she was little.
That's a trailer in Britain, basically.
Yeah, that's a
right?
trailer in Britain.
Walk me through what you did when you went to those luxury homes and looked at them, and you went to the Rolls-Royce dealerships. If some people are listening around the world, is that something that you would recommend? You said something like, get yourself ready for success? Is that what you said?
No, practice within when you're without.
Okay.
Is one of my 5 credos. Practice being successful. How many people listening to this today practice being successful today?
What does it mean to practice being successful?
Okay. Through affirmations, through going to the Rolls-Royce dealer, maybe Lamborghini, maybe something else.
Right.
In my particular case, it was Rolls-Royce. And within a year of me going to the Rolls-Royce dealer, I had a Rolls. Okay. Within 19 months of me dreaming and adding it to my goals, a castle on an island, I owned Guthrie Castle.
19 months.
19 months.
Okay. So how can people practice being successful? Affirmations, visualize, go shop for these things.
Go to stores you can't afford.
Okay.
Go hire lawyers you can't afford.
So hire them.
Oh no, use them.
Use them.
Lawyers will meet with anybody. Accountants will meet with anybody. Go to the big 4 accountants with a business idea. The first couple of meetings are for free. Jettison probably a lot of the people you hang around with. If you have poor public speaking skills, join Toastmasters.
Right. Is that still around?
Yep.
Okay.
Join improv.
Right.
I got a few people that do improv.
You ever do improv? You ever do comedy, stand up?
No.
Okay.
No.
I hear that's really good as well.
Yeah. But Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know Joe?
No, but I couldn't believe it. Is this the same guy? When I was looking at your site.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's comedy.
Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah.
Do these. If you went to a good school and you're not successful, go to the alumni deals. Okay. I didn't go to a good school. I'm a perfect living example that a lot of trouble as a kid, working class background, my parents, went to just a mediocre university that I flunked out of 3 times before I finally graduated with honors, and had no money to begin with, $820. It was no money, but $820. So it's all possible. But I devoted myself to feeling successful. I was wearing suits like this before I could afford them.
Mm. How'd you get them?
Credit cards.
Right. So as they say in Hollywood, act as if.
Correct.
In a way. Okay.
Correct.
Right. Okay. I'm going to hit you with a few questions here, and I think you know what they are, but I'm going to hit you with them anyways. If you could pick up the phone and make a phone call to the 20-year-old Dan Pena, that's almost 50 years ago, right? 64, 63, something like that. What advice would you give that young man?
It's the same advice that I give and the best advice that I got. Just fucking do it.
That's it.
Do it.
It's like the Nike slogan, but with
correct, except with the bad word.
With a bad word in there. Okay. On that same note, what is the best advice you've ever received, and who gave it to you? I know you got some mentors like Grazos, like Jim Newman, like Jerry Ormond.
Correct.
What's the kind of advice that they gave you
Well,
over the years?
the best, it came, Costa Grazos, the CEO of Onassis Shipping Group, boyhood friend for Onassis for 60 years. He said it more articulately. He said, Mr. Pena, most people procrastinate because they're unsure, so just do it. He said the same thing. And but I've never had a problem just doing it, because one of the things is you learn as a young combat infantry officer is time costs lives. Fred Smith, who I like a lot, who is a similarly trained officer like I was, who was a Marine officer, he said when I got back out of school, I think he went to Yale, but he's from a very uppity background, from Tennessee, or one of the southern states. He said, when I learned that mistakes weren't causing arms and legs and life and death, making decisions was easy. Similar for me. We overanalyze because we're unsure. We don't overanalyze because we are not sure if it'll work or not. We're more worried about, on the emotional side, it embarrassing us. And many of the Asian cultures, carry that to the 10th degree, losing face.
Putting the family name in dishonor.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Do you have a lot of Asian people that come to you for help?
We have Chinese, Indian, Malaysian.
And do you have to approach them differently because they have their own cultural
No,
baggage they bring with it?
I treat everybody the same.
Okay.
With disrespect.
And advice from Jim Newman, advice from Jerry Ormond, anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, well, Jim Newman wrote a great book. It's out of print. Release Your Brakes, because I was fortunate enough in 1976 to meet him. I went to a seminar. I went to Dennis Waitley, because Psychology of Winning, and I said, "Who taught you this stuff?" He said, "Well, my mentor is Jim Newman." So I went to the horse's mouth. Then I went to Newman, and his analogy was, are you old enough to have driven a car that had emergency brakes that don't automatically go off when you put it in drive? You're probably too young.
No, I remember that. You had to pull the emergency
But just
brake.
imagine you drove your car through life with the emergency brake on. It's bad for the transmission, it's bad for the tires, it's bad for the universal, it's bad for everything.
Right, and you never really...
Then you take, oh geez, the emergency brake's on. Then you release the brake. What happens? Whew, surge ahead, right?
Yeah.
Most of us go through life with our emergency brakes on. And that was easy for me to adopt. And as Jim told me, I still remember at his house, he says, "Dan, this will be easy for you because you have high self-esteem." Most of us, and he was talking about himself as well, and he came out of IBM with Ross Perot.
Okay.
That's his contemporary.
Okay.
And he says, most of us keep the emergency brake on because we want a reason not to test ourselves. And but once I get you to release your emergency brake, Brian,
then you'll be carrying me over the goal line.
Notwithstanding your Zen.
Yeah. You think the Zen is hurting me?
No,
potentially?
no. It's
Okay.
it's where you're supposed to be today. Mm. It's the journey.
Yes.
As I say I wrote that ebook before you asked me to be on this show.
Right.
And I said it's when I look back at the 20 years, actually the 40 years of my career, but the 20 years I wouldn't give it up. And one of the reasons that I wouldn't give it up the 20 years is not just the countless lives that I've changed, but because it keeps me sharp. I have to talk to, tongue-in-cheek, people a lot smarter than you come to the Castle seminar, and they keep me on my toes.
Right.
Now, it's not too often that I get caught, with a conundrum I can't figure out, but it does happen. We've had people as high as 170 IQ on the show, and as low as 90.
Okay.
We give you a test. Take it on my site, a success test. It's only got a 95% accuracy whether you can make it or not. It's only 16 questions.
What is that, danpena.com?
Correct, danpena.com.
Okay.
And then if you really want to back it up, there's a pessimism test and an optimism test.
I've heard about these tests. These are
Okay,
good.
and I'd like to say that I was smart enough to write the test, but I didn't. I borrowed them, and it's acknowledged from 2 doctors from Boston College. But it's got, you will see if you're optimistic. You will see if you're pessimistic. And more importantly, those 16 questions are ball breakers. They're not as easy as they sound. But if you answer them correctly, a perfect score is -3. and we send by computer. We send it back to you.
Okay, I might take that test.
Okay, take it.
I will.
Okay, let me know. Well, I'll know what your score is anyway.
You'll see, right?
Because I get the big printout, and they'll say, "Don't, don't, don't."
And you can call me up and
yeah, and I'll say, "You need the daily reports, Brian."
Do you ever have someone that comes to you and they come to one of your seminars, and then the week after you're like, I don't know how I'm going to help this guy. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to have to get really creative to try to find some way to motivate this guy. No?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
Because I have you fill out paperwork like this before you come to the seminar.
So you know all about them.
I know more. Just reading I ask questions about your business that you haven't even thought of.
I believe you.
You know, I've been involved, I stopped counting at 700, over 700 deals. I stopped counting at 700. 75,000 business decisions. Stop counting. There's, once in a while, there may be a derivation of something that I don't know, but it's so infrequent.
All right, you've seen most things. Last part of that question is to the 20-year-old listening to us in China or in Australia or in South America, what advice do you give to them? What should they do, if they want to change their game up and get their act together and become one of these elite entrepreneurs that you speak to?
Follow your dream. I mean, Steve Jobs said it in his commencement speech at Stanford in 2005. I'm going to not say it as articulately. Another college dropout. I went to college a grand total of, I think, 3 weeks. He said, unless you're passionate about it, it gets old quickly.
That's true.
Yeah. I.e., you're here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so follow your dream and don't listen to conventional wisdom, no matter what they say, because conventional wisdom is almost always wrong. Almost always wrong. Okay, I can go back. The world is flat. There's all kinds of, we can't fly fixed wings. We can't go to the moon. I can go on and on and on.
Right.
To current day, when I started here, and the only reason I never published my numbers of how successful we've been getting kids to generate money is because it was they're awestruck. I mean, I could have said 18 million a long time ago. I could have said a billion, excuse me. But, I'm getting towards the end of my career. So I'll publish it because I can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. See, everybody wants riches, but not all of them want fame. So there's certain people I can't talk about. And there's certain people like Klaus Kleinfeld, who's the CEO of and chairman of Alcoa, I can't talk about. But I have people that I can't talk about that have made... I have the records if to prove, but right. I don't know if it's because they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, I won't even go there.
Yeah.
For the last thing I want to ask you is for these 20-year-olds that are listening to us around the world, how do they find a mentor? How can someone find a mentor and then get a mentor?
Okay, you need to have at least three things that you need to keep in your head. You want somebody you personally like a lot. Okay. You want somebody that you have something in common. Jerry Orman was golf for me. Jim Newman was tennis. Costa Gratsos was good food and wine. Okay, so it's not just all work. It's not all just. And lastly, you want somebody that is geographically desirable. Although my mentors weren't geographically desirable, because you want to be able to spend time. Can I buy you lunch, Brian? Can we play some tennis? Can we go pump iron? Can we do this? Those are the things. But they want to be, and this is the most important, whether they like you or not, they've got to be where you want to be. Not some math teacher, unless you want to be a math professor, not some math teacher that you like, blah, blah, blah. He's got to be where you want to be.
Okay.
Full stop, period. If he's not where you want to be, then how is he going to mentor you? Even martial arts. I mean, all these guys have coaches. All the athletes have coaches. Bill Gates' mentor is Warren Buffett.
Right.
Okay, why do these guys have mentors and coaches? Because it's how you stay sharp. I'm privileged. I stay sharp because I'm coaching and mentoring so many people, so many different business models, and that's why I know the internet business so well. Because in the last 10 years, we've had a lot of internet gurus come through, and I've had to come out of the bricks and mortar world, and we've generated a lot of success, and I'm proud as hell about that.
Fantastic. I think it's important to select the right mentor. I think you probably have to push yourself when you choose a mentor, because you put
outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to choose someone that you know is going to be hard on you, and that knows is going to probably criticize you and your decisions. But you got to choose him over not the math teacher, but maybe someone who's going to be a little kinder.
Tough love.
Tough love. That's what you're all about, Dan. People can find you at danpena.com or danpena.com. On Twitter, you're Dan at Dan S. Pena, correct? Yep. Expect all caps from you, right?
Yep, in red.
In red on the emails.
You can't do red on LinkedIn, though. There's no colors, or at least I don't know how to do it.
I don't think.
And I don't think you can do it on Twitter either. Colors.
No, or Facebook.
Okay, but you can do caps.
Right.
Caps.
Do you have something set on your email so it's always red in caps?
Yeah, it is. But I'm always capped. Sometimes I'll hit the wrong button and it'll go. Half a sentence will be in caps and half a sentence won't, and then I'll notice it. Then rather than go back and change it, I'll just start in caps again. That means nothing. Like, it's not because this part is supposed to be intense and this part's not supposed to be intense.
It's not because you're slowing down or anything.
No. I just don't want to have to go repeat it because I still type like this.
Okay. Oh, with the fingers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate the long emails even more now.
Yeah.
So, you think you could whip me into shape?
Yeah.
You think?
You'd be a tough sled, but like Atlas Shrugged, pushing the...
Why would I be tough, Dan?
Because you...
Am I set in my ways?
No. At your age, you can't be set in your ways yet.
Okay. Am I in my comfort zone too much?
That's probably... I don't know you well enough, but that could be it.
Okay.
You seem to enjoy what you do, or you got a pretty good shtick about it. So,
right.
Okay. There will be a life beyond London Real.
Yes, there probably will.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're too young. I don't think you can do London Real until you're 55 or 60. It's not likely.
Okay, this is good. Come on.
Yeah.
Give me a few minutes free consultation.
No.
Here.
I mean, it's I don't know what you're passionate about. You seem to be passionate about health, what you put in your body, martial arts, working out, staying fit. And there's some people that make a living doing that.
Sure.
I have got a couple of mentees. One of the most successful physical fitness centers in the Washington, D.C. area is one of my mentees. And, but if we only make changes for two reasons, Brian: desperation or inspiration.
Okay.
That's it. There aren't any others. People don't come to me unless they're desperate or they've had an epiphany and they're inspired. Dan did something like this. I want to do something similar. Then they come to me. Okay. I have spiritualists come to me, channelers, all that kind of stuff. Because, by the way, for the audience, most spiritualists, channelers, etc., psychics, get tired of dealing with your problems between 3 and 7, maximum 10 years. Then they start writing books, and they know they can't make a living doing that. Then they start doing CDs, and they can't make a living from that. So then they go back to, $300 or $500 an hour. You need to be doing, in my judgment, when you're done with this portion of your life, find something that you're still passionate about. It seems to me health, science, diet might be a road. We explore those kind of things.
I do enjoy communicating,
No, but I mean, David Letterman, I told you that earlier.
Right, maybe he should watch his back.
Well,
I guess he's leaving, so.
Yeah, he doesn't have to watch his back. And they're already talking about DeGeneres taking his job.
Really? That could be interesting.
She's a high-performance gal.
She's great.
By the way,
yeah.
I interviewed a guy a few months ago who used to be the personal assistant to Tom Cruise.
Okay.
And he was going to come to the castle, but he
must have had some stories.
What? But the only thing I wanted to know, not about his personal life, just give me an average week from Sunday morning to Saturday night. He said 80, 90 hours, not shooting movies. 80, 90 hours. He gets up every morning like he never made a successful picture. He goes after every project like he never did a project before. After 30 years of success.
But is he happy?
I don't know that. He says because what do you call it? That thing he and John Travolta are.
Oh, the Scientology.
Yeah. He goes off to Scientology meetings once or twice a day, according to this guy.
Right.
And but he's just like J-Lo.
Right, J-Lo.
approaches every single project like it. She never made a successful song, never made a successful picture. And all these people, and I approach every single new mentee like I never had, a couple 100,000 successes. And I get people to do that they think they're impossible. You come to me with your goals. By the time you leave at the 7th day, your goals are a factor between 5 and 100 times bigger. 100 times. But
you're selling me, Dan.
No, I'm not selling.
Okay.
But women say that my deal works better for weight loss than it does making money.
Oh, because they want to lose more weight when they... Well,
No, because it works. Because the stuff we do, I've had women lose 220 pounds, 170 pounds, 190 pounds.
Well, just because you change their mentality and give them goals. Okay.
Correct.
I think maybe your ulterior motive for coming on today was just to get me to one of your seminars in Scotland. And it might happen.
Well, it might, I might have, I could have, should have. Yeah, I've heard that before.
Dan, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it. My audience is either going to love you or hate you. I don't know.
Normally they fall into two groups.
Okay.
I never want to fucking hear him again. What are you, a moron, Brian?
I'm going to take some heat.
You're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And that but actually, I only want 5% of your audience.
You probably want, less than that, really.
Okay. No. I only want 5% to like you, so you don't like me, so you don't get too disenchanted.
All right.
Okay, but what is other than the 25 and 3 million downloads? Do you have any idea what you can talk about that later?
Yeah, I'll tell you my average thing. I'll show you all my stats if you want.
Okay, yeah, that'd be interesting.
Dan, you are an original. You are a unique gentleman. Thanks for coming here and telling us about yourself. I asked you some hard questions, and I appreciate you answering them.
My pleasure, and I wish everybody in the audience all the luck and good fortune they earn, and to your quantum leaps in life and business.
Fantastic. As we say on London Real, it's about the journey. You've had a fantastic one, and I wish you well on your future one.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Take care.
Okay.
This week on London Real, I have a one-to-one chat with extreme entrepreneur Peter Sage.
Because most people have a death grip on how they think reality should look like, and all stress comes from life not fitting your pictures.
When you're not forcing something and you're actually enjoying everything that you do, you attract all of these people and all these energy and all these opportunities.
100%. I'm no longer sitting on the shore waiting for my ship to come in. That's Disneyland thinking. That's never going to happen.
People love to hear the victim story. That's all the news is.
If I understand other people rather than project my own model of the world onto them, then I'll have a little more tolerance in my life.
I'm curious what you think of psychedelics.
A ship in a harbor is a safe ship, but that's not what ships are built for.
That's one of the coolest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, it makes
and I do this every week. On Sunday, London Real presents Peter Sage, extreme entrepreneur.
That's it. Stress is a byproduct of you thinking that life should look a different way to where it is right now.
Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real. You probably know that we've just recently been re-platformed on YouTube after 25 months completely in the dark. The truth is, I really need your help. What I really need you to do is click on that subscribe button right now, like this video, and maybe even leave a comment or share the link with friends. We're really fighting against an algorithm that's tried to keep us quiet for so long, and the more subscribers we have, the more people watch our content, the better guests we can bring you, the better content, and we can continue transforming lives. We've been doing this for 14 years now. I want to do this for another 14 years, but I really need your help. So click on that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share this, and we're going to continue to bring you more and more great content. Thank you. Most people will never see this opportunity. Dubai luxury transformation projects have historically delivered 40 to 90% annual returns. That is incredible. These were once reserved only for insiders with access. I spent 15 years on Wall Street, and I learned this: the biggest returns always go to the people who get the call first. Now, you finally can. We've just received a brand new project with major upside potential. Allocations move fast. Click the link, apply now, and speak to my team. This is your chance to see what others never will.